So the worst card of the year takes place this Saturday, and that is Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic, UFC 309. The fact that this is going to be box office in the UK is criminal. Whoever came up with this idea needs to be charged for war crimes, because this card isn't worth it. 308, you had to pay for it in the UK. It was worth it because the card was great, stacked from top to bottom with actual fights that you wanted to see. This isn't it. So let's start off with the main event, that is Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic for the fake heavyweight title. As we all know, the real heavyweight champion is Tom Aspinall, and Jon Jones has really confirmed that this week in his recent interviews when he's blatantly told everyone straight up he's scared of Tom Aspinall. He doesn't want to fight him. He doesn't want to gamble his legacy. Just say you're scared to fight him and we can move on from this. But anyway, Jon Jones versus Stipe. This was the fight we were meant to get this time last year, I believe. Obviously, Jon Jones had to pull out due to an injury. This fight would have been great in like 2019, 2020. But in 2024, when you've got an interim champion who's already defended the title and has beaten more than half of the current top 10 UFC heavyweights, I can't say I'm hyped up for this, especially since we haven't seen Stipe since 2021, I believe. And in his last fight, he was folded like a fucking deck chair by Francis Ngannou, who, funny enough, was another fighter that Jon Jones avoided for 3 years. Very interesting. We're starting to see a pattern here with Jon Jones. Now, for this matchup, to be honest, I don't think this is going to be that competitive at all. In fact, I think Mike Tyson has more of a shot of beating Jake Paul than what Stipe does of beating Jon Jones in here. I don't think this is going to be competitive whatsoever. I've seen people as we get closer to the fight saying, but Stipe is the greatest UFC heavyweight of all time, which I agree, but he's not in his prime anymore. You know, what can you go off to say this guy's going to look great in there? His last win is like 500 years ago against Daniel Cormier, who in their third fight was washed himself, had a back injury that he needed to sort out that he never did. So it wasn't even like it was a prime DC that he beat, and then he got smoked by Ngannou. I really don't see this fight being competitive whatsoever. I think Jon Jones is going to go out there and absolutely smoke Stipe. Now, I would love for Stipe Miocic to win this fight. Don't get me wrong, I think that would be insane. And if Stipe is able to pull it off, it's without a doubt the biggest upset in UFC history, in my opinion. And it puts Stipe top 5 pound for pound. But it's not going to happen. Jon Jones is going to finish Stipe inside 2 rounds. And it's either going to be with a submission or TKO due to ground and pound. Now, Stipe does have a good chin. Well, he did. Like I said, we don't know. The last time we seen him, he got chinned by Ngannou. But again, that doesn't mean you have a weak chin getting knocked out by Francis Ngannou. I just don't think this is a good stylistic matchup for Stipe at this age either. I think Jon Jones is going to come in more prepared for this. I think he's going to put on a clinic. I think he stops Stipe inside 2 rounds. Next up, we've got the co-main event. Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler. Another rematch. This is a rematch that nobody wanted to see. This is kind of the theme with this card. Now, don't get me wrong. Oliveira and Michael Chandler will more than likely be an extremely fun fight. Like, when these guys are in the cage and the referee is going to get ready to ring the bell for this fight to start, I will be hyped. I will be looking forward to seeing this matchup because they are 2 of the most exciting fighters currently on the UFC's active roster. But let's just call it what it is. Michael Chandler took 2 years out of the ring to wait for a McGregor fight, which he got. Then McGregor had to pull out due to an injury. And then now Michael Chandler's decided, fuck that, I'm going to fight Oliveira. Now, I understand apparently whoever wins this, it's a number 1 contender fight for whoever wins out of Islam versus Arman. But I just have no interest in this fight. I genuinely do not care to see this again. It wasn't as if the first fight was so close either. Yes, Michael Chandler did have success, but Oliveira knocked him out. So I don't really get like what we're doing here. But for some reason, I feel like Michael Chandler might get it done. After all that being said, I don't know. The closer this fight gets, I have a feeling Michael Chandler is going to get the job done here. I don't know. My brain is telling me Michael Chandler's going to stop him. Because I feel like, yes, Michael Chandler's getting up there in age, but the time off has probably really helped him in a way because every single fight the guy's in, he takes a beating. So this will be beneficial for his body to recover, because he was pretty active as well. And his last fight was that war against Dustin Poirier, and before that it was the fight with Justin Gaethje. So it's not as if he's been in easy fights. He's been in absolute wars the past 2 times he's been out there. And I feel like this 2 years might have helped Michael Chandler. And as you can see in the footage leading up to this fight, he's in great shape as always. I kind of feel like Chandler's going to do it here. No, I'm going to have to pick Oliveira. I think Oliveira's going to sub him in the first round. That's going to be my prediction. He's been more active. Oliveira beat Poirier. He beat Gaethje, something Chandler wasn't able to do. Plus, he's already beat Chandler. I don't know why I'm getting so unsure on this. I'm picking Oliveira by submission. Next up, we have got a fight I'm actually looking forward to. This is a fight on this card that I actually am looking forward to, and that is Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig, because I think this is definitely the move that Bo Nickel should be taking. Coming off that fight at UFC 300 against Cody Brundage, yes, he won that fight, but he didn't look amazing, in my opinion. I expected him to get him out of there in the first round, and it didn't happen. But this is the right step for Bo Nickel. Paul Craig is just outside the top 15 now in the middleweight division, and some of the guys he's beaten, like Jamal Hill, Nikita Krylov, Magomed Ankalaev, Paul Craig has some good names on his resume. So it'll be interesting to see how Bo Nickel goes about here. I feel like Paul Craig could fraud check him if it goes to the mat. I feel like if it goes to the mat, Paul Craig will probably sub him. If Bo Nickel takes it to the mat, I feel like he might get subbed. But in saying that, Bo Nickel's striking is far superior than Paul Craig. I mean, this empty packet of chocolate fingers can strike better than Paul Craig, I'm going to be honest. Outside of that body kick, that looks like he's throwing it underwater. There's not much the guy really offers on the feet. I think Bo Nickel's going to knock him out inside one round. I would love to see Paul Craig get the win. I don't really care who wins this one. It would be nice to see Bo Nickel probably get the win over Paul Craig, because at least it's something new then coming into the middleweight division, and it gives him a bit more hype. But again, it's Paul Craig, so I'd like to see Paul Craig get it done again. I don't know, but I think Bo Nickel's going to knock him out inside the first round. Next up, women's MMA, Vivian Arawahu versus Kieran Silva. Why is that name looking so funny to me? Either way, I'm picking Silva to win this matchup. I'm not going to lie, I haven't really looked into this matchup too much. I haven't really watched much on each individual woman, to be honest. I'm not going to lie, I don't care to see this matchup. So, next, Mauricio Ruffy. Now, we know what's happening here in the UFC. The fighting nerds have they're surging. And Mauricio Ruffy, this guy's building a bit of a fan base. He's got a very fun style to watch. He enters that flow state. He's dangerous. Got some funky moves in his arsenal. Explosive, powerful. I think this is a layup for him. Obviously, James Longtop has taken this fight on relatively short notice. Mauricio Ruffy knew he was going to be on this card. So I think there was a dropout of an opponent for him as well. So this definitely is a short notice fight for James Longtop. I think Mauricio Ruffy is going to go out there and put on a clinic. I think that's why they've got him on the main card, to build a name for this guy. I think he's going to get a first round stoppage here, and I think he's going to look pretty good doing it. Let's just briefly go through the prelims. Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. You know what? I'm going with Jonathan Martinez, the underdog here. The guy's more proven. He's been in there with high-level competition. Yes, he got smoked by Aldo, but he didn't try and grapple with him. He didn't try and hold him against the cage like fucking Mario Batista. He stood there and fought him. I think Jonathan Martinez is pretty underrated as well, and I think the leg kicks, the guy's got some of the most brutal leg kicks currently in the game, in my opinion. I think he's going to get the job done here. Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. I think Chris Weidman's going to win here, and I think he retires at MSG. Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. Like, these MSG cards are meant to be like some of the biggest of the year, and this is I know these are the prelims, but like the main card isn't much better. Jim Miller got beat up badly by Bobby Green. Just because it's Jim Miller, I'm going to pick Jim Miller. David Onama versus Roberto Romero. Was this fight newly added to the card? I'm unsure. Was this newly added? David Onama's going to win. I'm picking him. Tybura versus Jonathan Deniz. Now, Deniz was meant to be fighting Derek Lewis last weekend, I believe. I don't know why Derek Lewis had to pull out, but Deniz at an underdog at this fight as well. I think Tybura, he's a crafty veteran. You know, this guy has been about. He's been in there with some of the big names at the heavyweight division. Not that he's beat them, but he's been in there with them and he's been giving them looks. Deniz is currently undefeated. I think he actually is all right. I think he's going to get the job done here. I'm going to go for Deniz. I'm going to pick Mickey Gall to win this matchup, which is embarrassing that I'm saying that in 2024. I mean, but again, he beat the GOAT in CM Punk. Basil Havez versus Oban Elliott. Havez, the guy who nearly beat JDM, but then struggled against Mickey Gall. MMA maths doesn't work. I'm gonna go for Oban Elliott to win this one here. I think there's gonna be a fairly boring matchup, but I think Oban Elliott is gonna outvolume Basil Havez and win this by decision. And Veronica Hardy versus Eduardo Mura. Veronica Hardy's gonna win this one. I actually think she's pretty technical for a women's fighter. No disrespect. I think she's going to get the job done here. Overall, I think this card's pretty ass, but you can let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you're from the UK, let me know, are you paying for this card? Let me know. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.